Yeah, Klaus dies, episode 1.
Why?
It's all over. I know. I'm sorry to break it to you. This is the official Comic-Con announcement. Episode 1 will be my last episode.
So, are you going to be broken across the globe?
Just mine, as I join the welfare line. No, it's not true. It's a lie. He survives, at least for now. Which you may have guessed anyway, being immortal and oak steak being dust. No, actually, having said that, I know that's driving her character. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really do right by her, did he? Let's face it. It wasn't the nicest thing to do, and I know he thinks he was doing it for the greater good, and he was, putting family first. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what drives her through the beginning of the season. No, he doesn't tolerate being manipulated or having plots of vengeance carried out upon him. He's going to strike back and strike hard. The best defense is a good offense, I believe. More recently, the whole of episode 21, season 2, cursing Hayley and Jackson, the whole Crescent Pack, leaving Camille for dead, toasting Gilles, the whole thing was just great.
Oh, you know it was coming?
No, but Mike Narducci, who wrote it, is here today, and he told me, Klaus is going to have a bit of a return to form at the end of the season, so I knew what that meant, so I was just excited because it's been a while since I drowned Tyler's mom, and I was getting kind of withdrawal symptoms, and Aunt Jenna was bloody ages ago, so it's nice to kind of get back to basics, strip it down, and get back to the Klaus we know and love. I enjoy the variety, so if it was all villainous, then, it would be one note, so I really enjoy all the notes of the symphony that is Klaus. It's the variety, and indeed I try and employ that in the scenes, jumping from one emotion to the next. I think he's infinitely unpredictable, and that's especially in his emotions, and that's what I enjoy doing, trying to catch my fellow actors off guard. Of all the questions I've been asked about that, your phrasing is the best. Is he going to keep stringing her along or what? Probably. Probably, and Hayley and whoever else you want to insert in that sentence. Yeah, I mean, he's very guarded, The only person he seems at ease with being vulnerable around is Hope, and that's only when no one else is around. So I don't know exactly what his intentions are and exactly how his feelings could be defined, but I sincerely doubt he'll allow them all to come gushing out on his knees in the rain in her garden. What's been challenging for me? I don't know, the show's extremely physical, so there's a lot of fighting for my character, a lot of action, and that's always challenging and fun, incredibly fun. And then just the workload. We do 22 episodes a year, that's 9 months of the year. A good group of us work every day, so every night is homework, learning lines and thinking about how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that about it. So yeah, that's the challenge, but it's worth it. Coming to Comic-Con, you see all of these fans, you meet them face to face, and you realise people are watching the show. It doesn't just exist in our bubble in New Orleans and Atlanta. It's out there, and people are invested in it. So that's very rewarding.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they've been on the outs since the show began. And let's not forget, that in the pilot, he murdered me. So we've been on the outs from the beginning. This is nothing new. The only thing that needs to be new is the level of forgiveness and the absence of it. I think that we need to see that there has to be a war before there's peace. I think that because otherwise we're just. I think the fans are getting a little tired of Elijah's threshold for punishment, for personal punishment. You know? I think that he should be enemies with his brother, and which is sad because I don't want to do that because I love working with Joe so much. And if we were enemies, it might mean that we're working apart more. I don't want to do that because I love him. But I think that to honor the sort of architectural design and narrative design we're talking about here, to honor that, that would have to be an enormous division. I can only wager that there will be attractive people. I can say that there's a splendid character by the name of Lucien on the horizon. Even just to see Klaus being like a quote-unquote a good father, this thing that he's defending all the time. There's all this sort of bravado, like, oh, my child, but even it's amazing how much it means to fans to see a tiny shot of Klaus just looking out a window and stroking the Hope's hair. That means the world. If you just give your audience that, which we didn't do, I don't think, if you just give them that, then it's enough to say and to signify when this guy seeks solitude, he seeks to be with his beautiful daughter. I think that's his great motive this season is to alleviate this curse from her. I wonder how much that crusade has been tampered and tempered by her marriage to Jackson. I don't know. I mean, he's still, I don't know. He still seems entirely devoted to her. But yes, she will be his crusade. No matter what happens to him, he could really sort of go fucking nuts and still have enormous allegiance to her. I think the season will be about Elijah's Red Dwarf for Elijah. I think my season's going to be about him coming undone. I think he has to. It's time. He's had far too many offenses hurled at him for him not to blow the hinges off that fucking thing. I love it. I mean, I think it's one of the this is going to sound like pretentious, but I think it's like the privilege of being an actor. I think that we get to do stuff that I couldn't start screaming at you now. Oh, I could. It would make a fascinating interview. It would get a lot of hits. Should I start screaming at you? What I love is when those are incredibly fun because I get to explore real levels of things that come from me that I wouldn't want to present to people. But yeah, I do. I love mixed martial arts. I'm a big Muay Thai guy, so I'm training my ass off to try not to look like an old man. Thank you so much.
So the brothers are in a terrible place. Rebecca is gone. Freya is the new family member who's come in, and she's trying to make something out of this family that she's always wanted to have. Marcel is the king of the vampires of New Orleans once again, and Davina has taken over as regent to the New Orleans covens. But everybody is divided. Everybody has a different kind of goal in mind. And into that very divided world, we have some new people arriving. And these new people are going to be the first vampires who were ever sired. And if you think about it, somewhere along the way, Klaus turned somebody into a vampire. Elijah turned somebody into a vampire. Rebecca turned somebody into a vampire. And they were the first vampires ever sired. So in flashback, we will see the first time someone became a vampire and how the originals learned that was something that can happen. And we're also going to see what perspective these vampires have, knowing that if one of the originals dies, an entire sire line will die. So if you are a 999-year-old vampire and you are happy to be immortal and ancient and living as far away from the originals as possible, the only people that can compel you, the only people stronger than you, more scary than you, you're ancient and you like to be immortal, but you know that Michael came to town and almost killed Klaus. Esther's plan was to put her children in another body and to kill the original bodies, thus wiping out vampires forever. Dahlia almost killed them in that final episode. So when Cole died, when Finn died, we realized that an entire sire line can die. And we just spent a season telling stories where the originals almost died. So all of these vampires who are the first sired vampires in history, they have a definitive perspective on the survival of the originals, and maybe they have their own feelings about what should happen to the originals to prevent their own deaths. And so that's one of the big, conflicts of our season. What do these vampires who we are meeting for the first time feel about the originals? Are they hateful, angry? Do they want to put them down and bury them in the ocean? Do they want to kill them, thus wiping out another sire line and thus removing some competition? So there's all these different ideas to explore, but we're going to see some very interesting characters who are that next generation behind the originals, the first generation of vampires after the Mikaelsons, and that's what. So you can tell we're doubling down on this is a vampire show. So young, powerful, beautiful, immortal people are coming to town with a definite agenda, and that's what the show's about. Well, she definitely has a place. We feel like she took center stage as the thing that Dahlia wanted, and she is a witch by descent. She is the descendant of witches. She's the firstborn Mikaelson witch of her generation. And as such, there's something about her that's very special. She's got werewolf genes. She's got her father's vampire blood in her system, which heals her from any wound. And if she were to die, she would become a vampire. We're not planning on telling that story. But for right now, this is going to be a return to a vampire story. And so Baby Hope will be certainly a part of it. And I think the question is, how do Hayley and Klaus reconcile their conflict, given that their child needs to have her parents defending her and protecting her and just being her parents. So that part of it will be the focus of, Klaus and Hayley as parents and how they can come to terms with their differences and be good parents for that baby, as opposed to really diving into the witch stuff, which we will return to someday.
Everything was a surprise to me, and everything continues to be a surprise for me. When I first got this gig, it was only supposed to be 2 episodes, and then things started to get written in, and then got expanded a little bit more. And then when they took me out, I got the opportunity to play a completely different character, as you spoke about, and that was really interesting. This season with Vincent, I think, as we saw at the end of the last season, he's sworn off magic, and he's trying to be somewhat of a mentor to Davina, who's risen up in the ranks and is now the regent and everything like that. But whether or not his voice is going to be heard by Davina at this point remains to be seen. And I think we have some other interesting challenges that are going to present themselves to Vincent as the season goes on as well. Well, I think you saw hints of it in episode 217. I mean, you have to be pretty powerful if you're going to throw someone like Marcel out of a door, which is what happened in that episode. But yeah, Vincent is definitely a powerful witch. I think the fact that they wanted Vincent to be the regent in the first place hints at that. And I think that we will definitely see some of his knowledge in this season coming up. Whether or not we get to see him practice that magic remains to be seen. It's up to the writers. No spoilers here. I've learned my lesson, ladies. That's definitely episode 203, the 3rd episode in the season. Hell, I was so nervous still when we were working on that. And Daniel Gillies, I don't know if you know Daniel's history. He's the funniest guy on the set. He'll always throw you a curveball. And as soon as we got on my coverage for that, he threw me this great curveball, made me crack up, loosened me up a great deal. And I really have to credit that guy for making me comfortable enough to do the work that I think I was able to do in that episode. So 203, definitely a great connection for me. I love working with Leah Pipes. I think she's a fabulous actor. Of course, the 2 brothers. It's always fun to work with those guys. But the wonderful thing about this show is that there's such an incredible cast of characters, such an incredibly strong artists to work with. So every day on set, I'm growing as an actor. So that's all I can ask for. So you put me with anybody on that cast, and it's going to be great. Anybody on the cast, and anybody of the guest stars that we've had too. We had people like Colin Waddell, who is a hell of an actor. Daniel Sharman, who everybody's going to see a hell of a lot more coming up. Just a really blessed experience for me in that regard. You guys remember the episode where I had my hands tied up above me? I don't know what was going through my head, but I wanted it to be, I guess I was trying to be method or something, because I never brought my arms down, and for about a week, my upper arms were numb after that. So nothing like, no broken bones, no cracks or anything like that, but that bothered me a little bit. I don't work with a trainer, and I need to because Charles Michael Davis puts us all to shame in that regard. But I think acting, whether people realize it or not, is a very physical exercise in and of itself. So I think just being able to sustain yourself throughout the day, because we work really long days on this show, is an exercise in endurance and gets you up to speed for things like this. But no, I don't have a trainer or anything like that. You're asking about that, no. But like I was saying, just the experience in general has been overwhelming in so many respects. It's so nice to meet the fans of the show because it's not like theater where you have a curtain call. This is the closest thing we get to a curtain call. So the love and appreciation that we get from the fans of the show is just like nothing else I've ever experienced. So blessings, man. The freakiest thing, there's some about coffins, of course, that bothers me, and I've been in a coffin a couple of times. So seeing myself in a coffin, even watching it now, is kind of trippy. Yeah, and some of the fight scenes that I've had with the two brothers, Klaus and Elijah, have been tough to watch, especially from my mother. Mom, if you're watching, sorry I had to put you through it. That was a badass experience. We had to do that several times because I couldn't catch the heart. No, and this might trip out some people, but that was an actual pig heart. That was a real heart that we were using for that. And I couldn't hold on to it, so we had to switch it to a rubber fake heart. For me to catch. Yeah. Don't drop the pig heart because no, I think it was one of our DPs was like, listen, I got $20 on you, Yusuf. You got to catch this heart. If you don't, I'm going to lose the money. So I just didn't want people to lose their money on me. Really.
Season 3, what I'm really excited about it is it's like kind of a fresh plate. You know, the parents are gone. A lot of the ties to their past in what's it called? Where the Vampire Diaries take place. Mystic Falls. Their ties to Mystic Falls are slowly dwindling, and I think this season the new characters that are coming into play are very. It's going to be a destruction in a lot of different ways, and you see a lot more characters from their past that you've never been introduced to before. So I think when they come into play, it kind of adds just this new mystery and this new sense. It's kind of like a new show, almost to me. Like that's what I've read in the first couple, and it's exciting because we've done 2 seasons so far, and so now to have something fresh every year is always exciting and new. So it's going to be really cool. What I love about playing my character is that I've grown up basically with my character now. So I was a teenager when I started the show. I was 18, playing like the 16-year-old girl. Kind of she was in a scared for her life in the attic, and I've grown up now with my cast. And now you see Davina as this strong woman who's leading her people. And for me, there's nothing cooler than getting to play that strong, powerful girl who used to be so scared. I got to ride all the arcs with her, and so for me, it's been quite a ride, and it's been awesome. And I genuinely just love my character, so it's cool. She's always actively plotting to take down Klaus. Yeah, I mean, she's more angry now than ever because he took away her last chance of bringing back the one person she's cared about in a long time. And whether Cole was her first love or just the first person that she genuinely had feelings toward, that she felt understood her, he was really important to her, and she is, I think, going to continue to try and find a way to bring him back. But as of right now, that was her last chance, and she's going to now focus and put her energy in helping her people. I think right now she's keeping out of the she's trying to stay away from them. She doesn't want anything to do with the vampires, and I think right now what she's trying to do is just kind of figure out how to lead the people in the best way, and what that really even means and what they need to do. They're going to be deceiving. That's a very key thing, and that's something. It'll make sense when you see it. But I think what's cool about the season 2 is there's going to be a lot of unexpected twists that you're not expecting. That's going to be really, really fun. Comic-Con, it's unreal. Like, there's no place like it. It's growing every year. Honestly, I love coming here. It was so. I remember the first year. It's like so overwhelming. There's so many people that I worshipped on TV or movies, and then there's also so many amazing fans that are dressed up in all these amazing costumes they spend so much time on, and then just genuine fans of the show, which is such a huge honor. So it's been amazing, and the energy here is can't replicate it. It's awesome. I always think that I really like the Elijah Hayley storyline. I think that's just like you want it so bad and then they can't have it, so that makes you want it more. I just like that stuff is so good. It's so good. Ooh. Okay, our show's really cool for that reason because there's stunts going on all the time because it's supernatural and whatnot. But I think it was season 1, we did this stunt where Davina rose 3 witches into the air, snapped their necks, and they dropped down. And I remember that setup was so cool to watch and just. I mean, obviously I wasn't doing it, but I felt like I was. I'm doing something so simple as raising my hand, and then they drop down when I do that. And it was so cool. To me, that was really fun to do. There was a fight scene at the beginning of season 2 where there's like this brawl in the one of the bars, and I'm fighting with like a werewolf, and I get an ass kicking, but we had to learn the choreography for it, so it was still really fun to do, and you have to learn how to fall correctly, and honestly, I think stunts are some of the coolest things ever. I think stunt men and women are amazing.
I would have found you. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking in one of those takes, I was like, are we about to kiss? Because he got so close, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna kiss me, he's gonna kiss me, he's gonna kiss me. And it didn't happen, and then he like vanished. I mean, even he convinced me, so I don't even know what the fans were thinking when they saw that. But it was intense. My heart was racing when we were filming that. It really was. It was getting butterflies. I don't think that would be a good idea. I mean, but everyone makes very bad decisions on the show constantly, so like that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But I think that. A romance between the two of them. I think a romance with Klaus for anyone is a very bad idea, but at the same time, we understand that he's chock full of charm and really handsome. And I'm telling you, I got butterflies in that scene. So like, I totally get it. I can relate to Cammy. We don't always make the best choices in who we feel things for as women. You know, I mean, I think like when they call action, no offense to Joe, but when they call action, it's like, it's so much chemistry, like, wow, like, when he turns into Klaus, it's like, yeah, this feels really right, and like, I am getting butterflies. And then they call cut, and Joe like tells a silly joke, and like talks about video games, and I'm like, oh, it's so weird, like, it just goes away. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. No, but he's like, you know, all these boys, they just turn into brothers really quickly, and so like, you know, having even like the sex scene I had with Charles, it was like being with an older brother. Notice I say older because I'm not the older one. And I'm like, oh, this is so weird. Like we couldn't stop laughing. It just turns really like a family very quickly. I think so. Yeah, I think that's something that is going to be explored. It's an interesting family. I want to know more about her family too. I mean, I don't think she knows as a character, and I don't know. But it seems like there's a long history of being very involved in the supernatural world. And
a mystery there.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery there. Yeah, and I think there's this, you know, there's going to be certain new characters that maybe crop up that history for her. So. Well, season 3, I can tell you that Cammy's like she's setting boundaries with the Mikaelson, so she's really finding herself. And the Mikaelsons have their own stuff to deal with. There's new people that come in, and they're really they're bad. They're like they make Klaus look like the good guy bad, and so it just everyone's preoccupied with their own thing, sort of thing. But also, you know, as always. Klaus and Camille always wants to redeem Klaus. That she really does, and I that doesn't go away. I think she really continues to want to see Klaus and Elijah happy and healthy, and the whole family happy and healthy, and Hope happy and healthy in a stable home. She would like to see all that happen, but I think she is making a very clear boundary between being a professional. She has her degree now. She's a real therapist, and being a love interest. I think she's saying, no, I will help you professionally, but I am not going to be your date anytime soon. They had to cut out a scene where I toss Elijah a shirt because he's like all like muddy and gross, and so I have to toss him a shirt as we're on our way to the the safe house just blew up. So we stopped at like a convenience store. The shirt kept like going and like falling to the ground. He's like, Leah, bunch it. I'm like, okay. Like I would toss it and it'd be like over there. And so eventually they just cut the scene. They're like, okay, well, Leah can't toss a shirt. And tossing a shirt, by the way, is super hard. Like, I was like, hey, Gillies, how about you try tossing this shirt? Because like, okay, it catches a breeze. It was really windy that day. Like, the second fabric catches breeze, like, it's not going to go forward. In my defense, everyone was teasing me. I'm like, give me a baseball and I'll be fine, but a shirt is different. I always want more screen time with Phoebe. I always think, like, why are we not doing, like, a girls' night with Phoebe and Hayley, or Phoebe, Camille and Hayley, where we just, like, have a bunch of fun and just, like, because that's what Phoebe and I do, like, on our own time. So, like, why can't we just film it and call it work?
For some new characters, I'm excited for some characters that aren't the Mikaelsons. I think that's going to be really cool and change some dynamics between, like, Klaus and Elijah, and you know, I think it's important to be able to have characters that there can be like romantic relationships with, and you know, when it's when you know, last season was very much about the family, and so you're kind of restricted a little bit more about what you can do with those characters because their bonds ultimately lie with their family, and they're very strong on that. Whereas I think with new characters that aren't related, it opens up kind of new relationships between all the characters, and new, you know, alliances between them. Yeah, when baby's meant to cry in the scene, you really a mom, like, and you're trying to say your lines, and you really have to react. It's like, it's a really cool way of, I don't know, doing those scenes. Like the scenes with Dahlia, when she really was crying and it was distressing. I was like, you know what I mean? And it's really easy to react to stuff that's going on when you really do have to, like, tap into your motherly instinct. So, really angry. Yeah, I think more than anything, you know, I think one, she's just angry. She's angry that, you know, he betrayed her. But more than anything is that she misses her kid, and he's the reason why she's not with her kid right now, and it's heartbreaking. So I think before she does anything, she's gonna like go and be with her baby, and then she's going to plot like huge, you know, revenge against him. I don't think Hayley wants Klaus dead. I think she wants to like make him suffer as much as she suffered, but I don't think she wants him dead. Because at the end of the day, he's still a father of her child, and she wants the baby to have, you know, a mom and dad, and she never had family, and I think it's really important to her, so she's going to really try hard to at least maintain some level of, like, being amicable with each other just for the baby.